Hello, Handmade Beauty Box Live viewers. I am so happy to have you here. Hello, Snapchat. Hello, Periscope. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make 3 different face masks live right now using all the ingredients that you got in this month's Handmade Beauty Box. For those of you just joining on Periscope, you can sign up for your monthly DIY beauty box at handmadebeautybox.com. Let's get started. In your kit this month, you received 4 ounces of Kaolin Clay. This is actually 4 ounces of Kaolin Clay by weight. Look how fluffy it is. It's so light. This is 12 ounces of sea clay, and that was also in your box this month. In addition to that, you received 5 ounces of rice bran oil, 0.2 ounces of ginseng extract, 0.18 ounces of tea tree essential oil, 1 dropper, 2 bale jars, and 4 round containers with lids, and of course, adorable, cute finished labels for your product. What you're going to need to do this project right now at home. You're going to need a sifter. Now this sifter is completely optional. I recommend it though because it really improves the consistency of your mask. You're going to need a large mixing bowl like this. You're going to need mixing spoons or mixing spatulas. You're also going to need measuring spoons like this. And finally, this is totally optional, but a whisk can be totally useful for getting out any last clumps when you're making your face masks. Are you ready to get started making our very first face mask? And if you have any questions, just remember, feel free to ask them and I will answer them live for you as I'm making this product. So we're going to switch down to this camera and I'm going to get started making that face mask. So our recipe 1, the first recipe that we're going to make is in your amazing little face mask instructions booklet that came with your Handmade Beauty Box. Full color instructions that are awesome to understand and completely be able to use. I'm going to move all of my things off to the side just because I don't want to get anything messed up. And then going to start measuring things out. And Courtney, will you count for me so I can just talk to everyone at home? Awesome. So first part of this recipe is 5 tablespoons of Kaolin Clay. Kaolin Clay is fantastic to use on your skin. It's especially nourishing because it really leaves your skin feeling nice and soft after you use it. Kaolin Clay is known for helping to take out impurities out of your skin and draw out any extra oils that are in your skin. So that was 5 tablespoons of Kaolin Clay. I really like to use Kaolin Clay in all of my facial products, but I want to make sure that you know that Kaolin Clay comes in many different forms. So when you're using Kaolin Clay, make sure you're using a cosmetic grade product, not one that's commonly used for craft supplies, because if you're using one that's commonly used for craft supplies, it may not have been purified to have all of the impurities removed from it, because Kaolin Clay is a natural clay that is mined from the earth. So you'll notice I'm just pushing through the last little bits of that Kaolin Clay to make sure that there's no clumping. The next ingredient that we're going to be using in our face mask is 12 tablespoons of sea clay. And Courtney, will you count for me again? Awesome, thank you. So the sea clay is fantastic to use in your skincare. It's actually kind of a mild exfoliant. It, amazingly enough, comes from the very deepest parts of the ocean, where it was laid down over the last several million years, making it incredibly mineral dense. So this product is particularly good at drawing oils and impurities from the skin. It also acts as a mild exfoliant and leaves your skin feeling soft and supple because it ends up nourishing at the same time that you're cleansing and making a mask with it. That's because, again, it's been sitting on the ocean floor and has a ton of extra minerals in it from that. So now that these are in, we're gonna go ahead and we've sifted these together. And the reason that we've sifted them is you end up getting a very rustic look if you don't sift them together. They really kind of end up clumping. So now we're gonna go to 3 to 5 ounces of rice bran oil.
We have a Periscope question.
We have a Periscope question. Hi, Periscope viewers.
Are these clays good for sensitive skin?
Are these clays good for sensitive skin? Kaolin clay is fantastic for sensitive skin. It's exceptionally mild, makes a fantastic face mask, or you can mix it with any cleanser to really beef up your cleanser. The sea clay is also good for sensitive skin, but since it is a mild exfoliant, I really do recommend keeping that sea clay either if you have sensitive skin, either in an oil base or mixing it with your cleanser or even your facial moisturizer. If you have sensitive skin, you might not love exfoliating so much. So that's something to keep in mind. So now I'm adding 3 to 5 ounces of rice bran oil. And the reason I gave you a range in your recipe instructions is because you actually have the choice to go with a more light mask or a slightly more oilier mask. And I want to show you exactly what happens if you use the entire 5 ounces. In fact, I've got a little sample for you over here. I let this guy sit for a good month, and you'll see a lot of the oil has come to the surface. And so if you end up using that full 5 ounces, just know you'll have a slightly more oily, moisturizing mask. I'm also going to go ahead and add my tea tree essential oil and my ginseng extract. The tea tree essential oil is just 3 milliliters, and this is totally optional to use. I love to use tea tree essential oil in my skincare products because it's a slight antiseptic product and it really does help to cleanse your skin completely and fully. Additionally, you could switch and do a different type of mask, like you could switch and do like a lavender essential oil in your mask as well. And so we're going to do 5 milliliters of the ginseng, and it looks like I'm going to use the same dropper. So 5 milliliters of the ginseng, and again, this is just a 1% usage rate, so it's a very small amount, but ginseng extract really helps boost your skin firming collagen, and it is so effective that you really don't have to use very much of it. Now what we're going to do is just stir until everything is fully and evenly mixed in. And it looks like, I know when you're at home and you're kind of looking at this thinking, oh, well, that doesn't look like it's stirring in very well. Trust me, that oil really does stir in extremely well because, remember, sea clay and kaolin clay do a great job absorbing oil. So, and the dark color we're getting is from that sea clay. And so here we go, everything is fully mixed in. And now to use this, you just go ahead and you fill your bale jars about 3/4 of the way up. And then you label this and you're done with this particular project. This particular face mask number 1 from your Handmade Beauty box, is super easy to make, and it's gonna last in your refrigerator for at least 3 to 5 months. It doesn't have a preservative in it, so the extra one that you make, because again, you're making 2 bale jars worth, so the extra one I would definitely put in the refrigerator. So, any questions before I move on to the recipe number 2?
So what preservative would you use if you were to preserve this mask?
So if you wanted to, so interestingly enough, preservatives are synthetic products that you use to inhibit microbial and bacterial growth when you are making any product that has water in it. In this case, we haven't added any water to the mask. So why would I recommend a preservative if you're going to sell this in the stores? Well, of course, when you have your Handmade Beauty box, it only makes enough for you and a friend to share. So you're not going to be selling it in the stores. But if you wanted to make this in a really large batch to sell in the stores, you would definitely want to use a synthetic preservative like Optifen, which is an oil-soluble preservative. And the reason for that is, 1, you never know what your customer is going to do with the product. And 2, even though this is purified clay, clay is essentially a mud. So you're actually mixing this beautiful purified clay with oil and wetting it down and turning it into an environment that under the right circumstances, say someone left this in their hot car, they decide to put it in the sauna or something. So under the right circumstances, could grow mold. So if you are going to be doing this for anything but your home use, or you're wanting it to have a longer shelf life than about 5 months, make sure you're using Optifend at a 0.5% usage rate, and you would add that right along with the extracts, and you'd add that right along with the essential oils. That was a great question from one of our viewers. Thanks so much for asking that, because you're right. Preservatives can be extremely important, but in this particular case, it's an optional step. Any other questions before I move on to recipe number 2?
Would you recommend using gloves? Can you?
Oh my goodness, would I recommend using gloves, or can you? Absolutely. So if you're making this to sell, it's really important that you use good manufacturing practices and you make sure all your entire workspace is completely disinfected with bleach water and all of that. Since Handmade Beauty Box is designed for single-use, at-home products that are usually done at girlfriend's nights out or done with your kids, we're not quite as stringent with the good manufacturing practices. But if you are going to take this to a bigger level and you're going to be a business, absolutely, I'd recommend pulling your hair back, putting your gloves on, and making sure you're using a 5% bleach water solution. Because, hey, if you're selling this in stores, you definitely want to make sure that you are 100% compliant with current FDA regulations regarding manufacturing. All right, let's move on to recipe number 2. So recipe number 2 is actually a little bit easier to do because this is a dry mixture. And so with this one, we are going to be doing 5 tablespoons of Kaolin Clay again. And remember that Kaolin Clay, for those of us just joining us on Periscope, this Kaolin Clay is fantastic for helping to remove impurities and draw oils from the skin. And also is not just a traditional kaolin clay that, for example, has been just mined from the earth and you're using in your pottery or your natural art supplies. This kaolin clay is cosmetic grade, so it's not just something that you're going to be going to your backyard and getting. And it's really important when you're putting stuff on your skin, you want to make sure it's cosmetic grade and totally safe for use in your skin.
So we have 4 more Periscope questions, all the same. Is this edible?
4 Periscope questions about if the kaolin clay is edible. That's a great question because you're right. Some people take clays internally because they believe it's detoxifying. And anytime you see any sort of clay supplements being sold in the store, you'll also see a little note that says, warning, this product is not regulated by the FDA. And so to answer your question, though the kaolin clay that Brambleberry and Handmade Beauty Box sells is technically food grade because it has been purified that way, Brambleberry and Handmade Beauty Box are not a registered food handling facility. So technically, I would not be recommending eating this even though it has been purified to those standards. The next ingredient is 12 tablespoons of sea clay. And remember, sea clay is very mineral rich because it's been sitting at the bottom of the sea for years and years, literally millions of years, and it has been completely purified and dried once it's harvested out. It is very nourishing for your skin because of all the minerals it has in it. And we're doing 12 tablespoons. In addition to that, it also is really good at being a fantastic exfoliant. So you could always use it on its own to exfoliate your skin lightly and not just use it as a mask.
We have another question.
Another question from Ustream or Periscope?
This is from Ustream.
Hi Ustream viewers.
Can you substitute French green clay for sea clay?
Can you substitute French green clay for sea clay in this recipe? Absolutely. In this case, the sea clay is really acting like a mild exfoliant, but it does basically the same thing as French green clay. French green clay is also going to remove impurities from your skin, and it's really going to help keep your skin feeling soft and help promote skin cell turnover, which helps to make your skin look like it has a few less wrinkles and also like it's more bright. And both the French green clay and the sea clay will do just that. So you absolutely could substitute the sea clay for the sea clay with the French green clay. So now I'm just going to mix these together. And you can use a whisk, or you can use, I'm just using my tablespoon right now, but I'm going to switch to a whisk in just a second because I'm going to be adding 3 milliliters of tea tree essential oil. And let's talk about that tea tree essential oil just for a minute, because that tea tree essential oil usage rate is really light. You'll notice that there's a lot of product in here for just using 3 milliliters of tea tree essential oil. And the reason that we're only using 3 milliliters of tea tree essential oil is because anytime you're making a product to put on your face, you want to make sure that you're having a very light usage rate. In fact, probably the lightest you can, because anything that's going to be around your mucous membranes, so mucous membranes being like your nose or around your eyes, you really need to make sure is not going to irritate or bother your eyes. So on Facebook and on Twitter and Instagram, this project has been so popular, and it has been really gratifying to see people posting their photos of them making their products, and also posting the photos of using all these things. And it's been so much fun to see. And I love seeing how people are customizing this project. So for example, I saw one person using lavender essential oil instead of the tea tree essential oil we sent, because this individual had slightly more mature skin, and she really didn't want those antiseptic qualities that the tea tree essential oil had. Some other great essential oils you could use, again, at that very low usage rate, just that 3 milliliter rate would be, again, lavender essential oil, Roman or German chamomile essential oil. Those are fantastic skin-loving essential oils. Clary sage is another great one for skin balancing. So there are other essential oils that you can use. Just make sure if you're doing it, again, you're so close to your eyes with this product, you're so close to your nose with this product, be sure to absolutely add a safe amount, which is a low usage rate. So just 3 milliliters of whatever essential oil you use. And definitely, please don't use peppermint or spearmint essential oils for your face, because those will end up irritating your face and especially your eyes. Okay, so now we're fully mixed in here. Got all of my tea tree really mixed in extremely well. And to use this, you just mix in the clay with water. And I'm going to do that for you right now, just so you can kind of see how to do it. And so how you do that is the usage rate is pretty simple. It's just 2 tablespoons of clay of your mixture to 1 tablespoon of diluted water. And keep in mind that anything like we just talked about a few minutes ago, anytime you're mixing water with your product, you really are going to end up with a nutrient-rich environment that microbes and bacteria might want to really grow in. So this, once you mix it with water, this is a single use. You need to use this right away. And even if you store it in the fridge, it's got a much shorter shelf life than our oil. So here we have our water-based mask, and I'm going to put these all on my arm at the end to kind of show you the difference. And the reason you would use a water-based mask is if you had extremely oily skin and you really wanted to remove any of those oil impurities. Otherwise, I really do recommend the oil-based mask for almost all the skin types. And if you've got this at home and you're like, yeah, you know what, that's just a little bit too dry, it's not going to stay on my skin, you're always welcome to add a little bit more water. Just remember that this is single use. So when you're done with it, I want you to make sure that you're packaging it up in your containers here, so that way you have your dry powders for later. Now, if you got the Handmade Beauty Box Kit at home, thank you for being a subscriber. I really appreciate that. You'll notice you have a few extra ingredients left over. You have a little bit of the Kaolin Clay left over. You also have some of that rice bran left over. And of course, you have a little bit of tea tree essential oil left over. So I'm going to show you how to use the rest of this product at home using products from your kitchen. You ready to make some face guacamole? That's right. Let's get started with that. So to do that, it's avocado, egg white, honey, and kaolin clay and rice bran. So let's work on this. Here I have one small avocado that's been fully mashed up. An avocado is fantastic because it has vitamins. It's really high in vitamins E and C, which are fantastic for skin and promote cellular turnover. It also is rich in potassium. To get an egg white, here we go. You're just going to want to use the egg white because the egg white is skin tightening. You crack an egg carefully, and then you end up letting the egg white roll out. There's some more egg white, and the egg white is fantastic because it's astringent and it really helps to tighten up the skin. So then with this egg yolk, just set that to the side. I am going to hand this to Courtney. Thank you. Set that egg yolk to the side. And then we're gonna add a full 1/2 tablespoon of honey. And honey is a really great humectant. It helps to moisturize and draw moisture to the skin. It's long been used in skincare preparations because it's just so good at helping to moisturize and really nourish skin. Then you're gonna use the rest of your rice bran oil, or 1/2 teaspoon, depending on kind of how much you have left. And I have about 1.5 ounces left, so I'm just gonna measure that out. And then 2 tablespoons of the kaolin clay. So, because you have a lot left, like this is a lot of kaolin clay left after. So 2 tablespoons of the kaolin clay. The Handmade Beauty box came this month with a lot of really generously sized portions. And then all you need to do is mix this whole thing together to make your mask. And it makes a lot for a face mask. Obviously, this is a single-use mask because, well, all these products, if left out on the counter, would definitely be molding. So you want to make sure that you use this face mask in one setting. And so if you're looking at this and thinking, well, I'm not going to be able to use that whole face mask in one setting, you could definitely put it on your feet. Sorry about that scritchy noise. It's the mixing. You could definitely put it on your feet and then cover your feet in saran wrap and leave it there for 15 minutes to really moisturize your feet. It would make a fantastic foot mask. And then use the rest on your face. And some people like to use avocado and egg masks on their hair. I have to tell you, I have done avocado and egg masks on my hair. It definitely takes a little bit of TLC to wash it out. So if you do that, just know that you're going to be washing your hair a couple times with shampoo to get that out. So, are there any questions before I move on to how to use a face mask, demonstrating any of these things?
What other oils can you use instead of the rice bran?
Oh, so say you used all your rice bran oil. I love using rice bran oil for any skincare because it's so lightweight and it's really rich in vitamin E and it's got great antioxidants in it. But if you didn't have that at home anymore and you wanted to make this recipe because there was so much kaolin clay left in your Handmade Beauty box this month, you could absolutely use olive oil, sweet almond oil, or avocado oil. Those would be excellent substitutes for that rice bran oil.
Can you use a fragrance oil instead of an essential oil?
Oh, can you use a fragrance oil instead of an essential oil in any of these face masks? That is a fantastic question, whoever broached it. And the answer is, as long as it's a cosmetic grade fragrance oil, you absolutely can use fragrance oils instead of essential oils in your face mask. But I want to caution you, never use a potpourri fragrance oil, never use a candle fragrance oil. Only use skin-safe fragrance oils for your face products. And another thing is, remember that usage rate that I just talked about and how important that usage rate is? You want to make sure that for any of these, you're really keeping to very low usage rates, even when you're using skin-safe fragrance oils. And of course, I only recommend skin-safe fragrance oils from brambleberry.com if you're wanting to use a fragrance oil in this particular product and project. Any other questions? Okay, great. You guys, are you ready to see how these masks look on the skin? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and not put it on my face. I know you guys are super sad to not watch me put it on my face, but these are our 3 projects that we have right now. So here we have our oil-based one, here we have our water one, and I can kind of see that this isn't gonna spread very well. So I'm gonna add just a little bit more water so that it spreads pretty evenly. There we go. And you can do that at home too if you're like, I don't know that this is going to spread well, because remember, clays are great at absorbing things. So it just absorbed all that water I put in there just a few minutes ago. So I'm just going to mix that in. And again, the only reason you would really be wanting to use the water-based mask is if you have super oily skin or acne-prone skin. For the rest of us that have either drier skin or more maturing skin, or skin that we're really wanting to anti-age, we're going to want to keep our skin nice, supple, and moist by using the one that has oil in it. So here we have our mask that has oil in it, and just going to put a little bit of that on my skin, and then I'm going to put the next one on my skin right now too, and then I'm going to wipe them all down at the same time so I don't get my fingers dirty more than once. But you can already see the difference in color and in texture. The avocado is so cool. Okay, so this is our oil-based mask, and you can see it's super spreadable, looks gorgeous. It smells really nice because of that tea tree. It clearly feels like it's going to be doing some good work on my skin. Then we have, this is the water-based one. You'll notice that they spread great. And the reason they spread great is because we sifted these. If we didn't sift these, you guys, they would not be spreading nearly as well. So keep that in mind if you're tempted to skip the sifting. And then, of course, our beautiful, nourishing avocado, egg white, and honey masks. So here's all three of those masks just for you at home. And for those of you watching on Periscope, I'm Anne-Marie from soapqueen.com and handmadebeautybox.com. I'd love to see you subscribe to a box and get monthly DIY boxes for yourself at home. And for those of you watching from handmadebeautybox.com, thank you for being a customer, and thank you so much for subscribing. And for those of you from Snapchat, bye! Thanks for watching. Everyone, be sure to tag all of your things on social media. Hashtag HBB Show and Tell. Post your photos to Facebook and Instagram. I want to see what you're making because you inspire me with every project you guys do. Until next time, happy crafting!